Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special session of the Colorado Court of Appeals. We meet this afternoon to invest and to welcome the newest member of our court, Neeti Pawar. My name is Steve Bernard, and I am the Chief Judge of the Colorado Court of Appeals. I have the privilege to serve on this court with these talented and dedicated individuals sitting to my right and to my left and behind me. Let me introduce them to you. Judge John Daly, Judge John Webb, Judge Robert Hawthorne, Deputy Chief Judge Gilbert Roman, Judge David Furman, Judge Diana Terry, Judge Jerry Jones, Judge David Richmond, Judge Karen Ashby, Judge Michael Berger, Judge Rebecca Freyre, Judge Elizabeth Harris, Judge Craig Welling, Judge Ted Tao, Judge Matthew Grove. Our colleagues, Judge Daniel Tallman, Judge Terry Fox, Judge Stephanie Dunn, Judge Anthony Navarro, and Judge Lino Lipinski de Orloff could not be here today to participate in this ceremony, but on their behalf and on behalf of the entire court, I welcome all of you. Before I introduce some of the very special people and honored guests who have come here today to witness and to be a part of this important event in Neeti's life, let me share a bit of history and a few thoughts about the Colorado Court of Appeals. The Colorado Court of Appeals has been created, disbanded, and created again periodically since 1891 in response to an ever-increasing volume of appellate cases. And an interesting fact of family history, my great-grandmother's sister's husband served on the court in 1914 and 1950. The current Court of Appeals was created 50 years ago. At that time, there were 6 judges who officed in the old Farmers Union building at 15th and Sherman Street and heard oral arguments in the old Supreme Court chambers across the street that way in the state capitol. Eventually, in 1977, the Court of Appeals with the Supreme Court moved to a courthouse on this very location. It was a brand new building, that is true, but from the very onset, it was fraught with problems. Budget, design, construction, and otherwise, including, by the way, a leak in the roof so that water dripped down right over the podium where counsel argued in the Court of Appeals courtroom. To deal with this, there was a Rube Goldberg contraption of plastic tarpaulin and buckets, which, as you can imagine, made noises when there was a lot of rain. And then, a little over 6 years ago, in mid-December 2012, we moved into this lovely building, the Ralph L. Carr Judicial Center. And here we are in April 2019, now 22 Court of Appeals judges, all settled in a beautiful, thoughtfully designed, well-constructed home. By the way, for those of you in the audience who may be visiting the Ralph L. Carr Center for the very first time, I encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to take a few minutes to explore the public areas in the entire complex, including the many pieces of public art, and of course, the one-of-a-kind Judicial Learning Center on the first floor of this building. One of those pieces of public art, which is in the public stairway from the first floor to the fourth floor, is in effect a lovely sculpture that looks like a giant slinky. It is very bright colored, bright, shiny metal. And in the morning, around this time of year, you can see the light shimmering off that, creating dancing light on the walls, somewhat like a kaleidoscope or a prism in that stairway. It's lovely. Now let me introduce some of our honored guests. As I introduce you, I'd ask each guest to please wave or stand so that we can see where you are. Also, if the audience would please withhold your applause and recognition of our honored guests until all of them have been introduced. First, from the Colorado Supreme Court, we are honored to have Chief Justice Ben Coates, Justice Monica Marquez, Justice Brian Boatwright, Justice Richard Gabriel, Justice Carlos Samur. And he was hiding behind Ms. Cooper-Milmet, Justice Will Hood. Justice Melissa Hart is unable to join us today. Several former judges of the Colorado Court of Appeals are with us. Senior Judge Lorenzo Marquez, who I saw walk in, and I am told that Senior Judge Raymond Jones has come. Senior Judge Gail Miller. We are also joined by former Justice of the Colorado Supreme Court, Gene Dubofsky. Is Justice Dubofsky here? Okay. Acting as bailiff for these proceedings is the Clerk of the Court of Appeals, Ms. Polly Brock. Next, I am pleased to welcome from the District Court in Colorado's 2nd Judicial District, Chief Judge Michael Martinez. Is Chief Judge Martinez here? No. We are also joined by the Chief Judge of the Denver County Court, Teresa Spahn. Judge Spahn, she's not here. I'm starting to whiff a lot. Denver County Court Judge Gary Jackson, Judge Jackson, and he will swear Neeti in. Denver County Court Judge Chelsea Malone, there she is. Denver County Court Judge Mel Akamoto, no. From the United States District Court for the District of Colorado, I know we have Judge Christine Arguello. Is Senior Judge Wiley Daniel here? There. Magistrate Judge Cato Cruz. Magistrate Judge Nina Wang. And retired Magistrate Judge Michael Watanabe. I want to recognize Ms. Jackie Cooper-Milmet, Chief Legal Counsel to Governor Jared Polis, and some of her members of her staff may be here. Jenna Goldstein, Deputy Legal Counsel to the Governor. Ms. Goldstein, yes, she's in the back. Courtney Krause, also Deputy Counsel to the Governor. No? And Nate Gelfand-Toutant, who is Executive Assistant to the Office of Legal Counsel. Ms. Cooper-Milmet, as she has so kindly done on many other occasions like this, will offer some remarks about the governor's new appointee a bit later. We also have with us Attorney Regulation Counsel Jessica Yates. We also have the pleasure of the company of Michael Berg and Jay Patel from the Supreme Court Nominating Commission. On behalf of the Court of Appeals, I wish to thank all of the members of the Commission for their hard work and excellent selection of nominees to our court. Do we also have Catherine Shea, President of the Colorado Women's Bar Association in the audience? Ms. Shea's here. Arnold Hanuman, President of the South Asian Bar Association of Colorado? No? And Rachel Catt, President of the LGBTQ Bar Association of Colorado. Ms. Catt. I want to introduce the member of Neeti's family and her close friends who have come to share their pride and joy at her investiture as a Court of Appeals judge. We have with us today Neeti's husband, Aaron Templer, Neeti's mother, Asha Pawar, Neeti's brother, Dr. Manoj Pawar, Joel Saronan, her brother-in-law, Nancy Templer, her mother-in-law, Neeti's 3 nephews, Sanjay Pawar, Charles Saronan, and Jack Saronan, and Neeti's sisters-in-law, Rhonda Hackett and Denise Saronan. And Neeti's dear friends, Mitha Arora, Nina Arora, and Dr. Alpa Patel. We shall hear more from Dr. Patel later on in this ceremony. If I have mispronounced anyone's name, it is not for lack of Neeti tutoring me. It is because I am a poor student. Thank you all for being here, and please join me in a round of applause for all of our honored guests. Now we proceed to the official portions of this ceremony. Others will soon speak more broadly on this issue, but I wish to begin by recognizing that Neeti is assuming an important and a difficult task. Justice Thurgood Marshall once said that, in recognizing the humanity of our fellow beings, we pay ourselves the highest tribute. I have no doubt that Neeti will be an exceptional judge because she will recognize the humanity in all who come before her. I would now ask Ms. Cooper-Melmed to briefly introduce us to Governor Polis's new appointee. If you would, Ms. Cooper-Melmed, please come up to the podium to my left.
I'm ahead of you. Chief Judge Bernard and members of the court, Chief Justice Coates, members of the Supreme Court, and all members of the judiciary and honored guests, on behalf of Governor Polis, thank you so much for being here this afternoon to participate in the investiture of Judge Neeti Pawar to the Court of Appeals. The governor is in eastern Colorado today, otherwise he would be here himself, and he wanted me to make a point, Neeti, to congratulate you on his behalf. He's really excited about this, and his many future appointments to this bench coming up. So there was no real honeymoon period for Governor Polis. Almost as soon as I explained to him the process for appointing judges, he had these two very important seats to fill in the Court of Appeals within months of his taking office. And as usual, the slate of candidates was really incredibly impressive. Each applicant demonstrated a strong commitment to the betterment of the legal community and a superior level of legal acumen. It was a pleasure getting to know all of these candidates throughout the process. We thank them all for their willingness to serve and expect that we might see one or two of them again. But Governor Polis had to make a first choice, and his first choice at the end was fairly easy for him to make. It was Ms. Neeti Pawar. After receiving her JD from Washington University in St. Louis, Neeti started her legal career in the Denver Municipal Public Defender's Office. After a few years, she moved into private practice, working as a partner at DeMana and Jackson. And more than 10 years ago, she started her own firm that focused on mediation, investigations, and appeals. Through these efforts, she developed a skill that she described as running the maze, which we all feel sure will come in handy in this new endeavor. All of us in the administration know that such a diverse wealth of background, of experience, will serve you well on this court. Judge Pawar is this administration's first appointment to the Court of Appeals, and today marks another first. She is the first person of Asian descent ever to sit on the Court of Appeals. This obviously carries significant symbolic and tangible importance. We believe that every Coloradan values a judiciary that reflects the needs of the communities these benches serve, and we take pride in the fact that we will continue to prioritize this effort. But while this is an important first for this bench, it's also, for many reasons, just like all of the other appointments that I have been a part of, because it is based on Neeti's legal skills and talents. As I mentioned, her breadth of experience will offer a wealth of knowledge to draw from. She's been featured in numerous publications, including The Best Lawyers in America and Colorado Super Lawyers, in both of which she's been included for the past 10 years. We received overwhelmingly positive feedback from judges, from lawyers, and interested citizens about her legal chops. We also learned about her involvement in bar associations, including her founding of the Colorado chapter of the South Asian Bar Association, through which she demonstrated her willingness to give back to the legal community. She's also contributed to the community outside the legal sphere through her work with Mudra Indian Dance Studio in Aurora, which I really hope to visit sometime soon. And she became a student there in 2010 and has been a children's dance teacher for the past 7 years. Perhaps most importantly, everything we saw in her application, her interview, and the comments we received were reflected in our opportunity to get to know her personally and made us feel sure of her unwavering commitment to justice and dedication to the values of respect and collaboration that make this court so special. On behalf of Governor Polis, congratulations on the beginning of your career as a judge for the Court of Appeals. We know you'll serve this court with honor and distinction. Well done.
Thank you for your remarks, Ms. Cooper-Millman. In looking around the courtroom, I see that we have been joined by our Attorney General, Phil Weiser, and also that the Chief Judge of the Denver County Court is here, Teresa Spahn. It is traditional for us next to learn something about each new Court of Appeals judge. Neeti, I understand that you have asked your friend, Dr. Alpa Patel, to do the honors. Dr. Patel, if you would do so at this time, again delivering from the podium on my left.
Thank you, Chief Judge Bernard. Judges of the Colorado Court of Appeals, distinguished guests, and friends and family of Judge Neeti Basant Pawar. My name is Alpa Patel, and I'm a little nervous. I have the distinct honor and pleasure to call Judge Pawar my very dear friend and the newest appointment to the Colorado Court of Appeals. And since I'm not a lawyer, I still get to call her Neeti. Neeti and I met in the 90s when we had just moved to Denver and were starting our respective careers. Mine as an optometrist at a local nonprofit eye clinic, and hers at the public defender's office. On the weekends, I would occasionally fill in at other offices, and it was at one of those, where I worked just one day, that this amazing woman sat down for an eye exam. And we connected immediately. We chatted and talked about the city and our experiences as young Indian American women, trying to make a difference in our chosen professions. This serendipitous event led to a life of connection, where I feel something and she articulates my thoughts precisely, and it is a gift. It is what makes her an excellent legal mind and what will guide her to make fair decisions based on the perspectives of all parties involved and to the letter of the law. I have often thought that children of immigrants have a superpower. It is the ability to traverse one culture and set of mores to another and then back again. It is running the maze, like we've called it. The thinking several steps ahead to see how things will play out and how it'll affect everyone involved. And then making accommodations and subtle adjustments to make sure that the final outcome is the best it can be for everyone. It's a good life skill. And those that do it well do it seamlessly, and Neeti is no exception. It has fostered her ability to weigh each person's perspective equally and then come to a compromising solution that looks at all sides. It was cultivated by her parents and their South Asian community at an early age, and solidified as she collaborated with her legal peers into adulthood. My most favorite thing about Neeti is how she engages with others. Whether it is in the creative element of dancing and teaching at the Mudar Dance Studio, or mentoring young attorneys across all intersections of the legal community, she brings a blend of creative, professional, and youthful energy. I have often observed with admiration as she has mentored young people without them even knowing it. It's not that she just encourages them to be their best, but she makes sure that they don't minimize their strengths. I watch as young girls at the dance studio ask her advice about things in their lives and how she connects with them, and they always seem to walk away looking a little taller. In that way, Neeti doesn't just talk about living a life of balance. She values the things in life that we all talk about as being important and then takes action to live them, to make them happen. Unlike the generation that we were born into, my girls will grow up to see someone with a background similar to theirs up on that bench, guided by a strong moral compass that equates fairness with respect for other people's views, and it will be normal to them. And that is awesome. So congratulations, Neeti. Also congratulations to the court for gaining a collaborative and thoughtful colleague, as well as to the people of Colorado for gaining a just and intentional Court of Appeals judge. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Dr. Patel. We now proceed to administer the oath of office. Neeti has asked Denver County Court Judge Gary Jackson to perform that honor. Neeti, if you would please join Judge Jackson at the lectern.
May it please the court. I, raise your right hand. I, Neeti Pawar,
Pawar,
do solemnly,
do solemnly,
sincerely and truly
sincerely and truly
declare and affirm
declare and affirm
that I will support the constitutions
that I will support the constitutions
of the United States and of the state of Colorado,
of the United States and of the state of Colorado,
and will faithfully
perform
perform the duties
of
the office of the judge of the Colorado Court of Appeals,
the office of the judge of the Colorado Court of Appeals,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. And now we'll go through the robing ceremony. So if the individuals that will be involved in the robing, Aaron, Mrs. Pawar, Neeta,
I now ask our most junior judge, Judge Matthew Grove, to escort our newest colleague to the bench. Judge Pawar, we enthusiastically congratulate you on your appointment. And now I will ask you to please share with us some of your thoughts on this occasion.
Thank you. Wow, this is quite an experience, and I'm absolutely loving every minute of it. Thank you, Chief Judge Bernard, for presiding over this very auspicious event. And to Polly Brock, our clerk of the Court of Appeals, for attending to all the planning and the logistics for this investiture, while also running all the other things that you do to keep our Court of Appeals running seamlessly, just in your free time. Thank you, Ms. Melnick Cooper and Governor Polis, for your kind words and for your work in the difficult task of making these judicial appointments. I want to thank also the Judicial Nominating Commission for the many hours spent to ensure a well-rounded list of nominees that were forwarded to the governor's office. And it was an impressive list of candidates. I'm going to include them and recognize them now. Judge Jacqueline Brown, Christina Gomez, David Yoon, Sarah Wallace, and Michael Beaver. That my name was among them is and was my privilege. To our distinguished dignitaries and guests, Thank you for coming. Thank you for welcoming me. Almost everyone has already reached out to me, coming by to Chambers, offering support in ways that I didn't even think I would need. Thanks for anticipating that and making sure that I felt welcome and the transition is seamless. Judge Jackson, my former boss, partner, my forever friend and mentor. Thank you for always being an ear and a guide for me, even when, especially when, I've made you completely crazy over it. To my sisters, Alpa, Namita, who's not able to be here today, Mita and Nina, you all have lifted me up and kept me honest. Collectively, you are my personal advisory board, my fashion consultants, my therapists, my cheerleaders, and of course my comic relief, always down for silliness and laughter, never letting each other take each other too seriously. And to Aaron, I can't even begin to capture my love, gratitude, and appreciation for you. There is no doubt in my mind I would not be sitting here if it weren't for you. You know me better than anyone. And after our 21 years of marriage, you have pushed me intellectually and creatively, and we have laughed our ways through times of joy, but more importantly, through times of crisis and sadness and discomfort. You have encouraged me to be everything that I can be and to do it while being myself and to let the chips fall where they may. I am whole and I am happy because of you. I have already been asked several times by friends and colleagues what my path was that brought me here. And it gives me pause every time I'm asked that question because I don't have a clear answer. People speak of paths during times like this, career paths, life paths, paths to success. And it's a curious term to me because the routes that I've taken have never seemed like a clear path toward anything while I have been on them. And as I sit here today, looking at this incredible gathering of friends and family and distinguished guests, it's clear to me that I have been on a path this entire time, and I am overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the sacrifices made by so many others to make this moment possible. Sacrifices my parents made. Sacrifices you made, Mom. For me and for Manoj, without even realizing the degree to which you would be sacrificing. Newly married and young, you thought you'd be in the United States for a year, maybe two. You didn't know that when you left, you would be leaving your life behind. Your parents, your siblings, your friends, your city, everything, for something completely unknown and uncharted. I can't imagine what that kind of sacrifice means, and I doubt I ever will. All I can do, Mom, is recognize my responsibility to live a life that honors the sacrifice that you've made. I feel gratitude as I see so many judges and justices here today who've also made sacrifices, the kinds of sacrifices that no one will ever know about, let alone understand. You've made this moment possible. Your presence reminds me that your trailblazing is part of my past, and I'm incredibly grateful to know that you have my back now as I head into the future, that I'm supported, and I recognize that many of you didn't have that kind of support on your paths. My responsibility in that regard is clear as well. My life has been enriched and amplified by so many communities, too many to thank properly in this forum, honestly. From my family in Nashik and Pune and Mumbai in India, who I think might be watching, to my family in the dance studio, whom I know are watching, where I'm able to give joy and creativity and receive joy and creativity in return. And to the many different facets of the legal communities within our larger bar, where I've been able to give and receive a sense of professional purpose. I am part of them, they are part of me. I'm stronger because of them, and I like to think they're stronger because of me. The whole, as they say, is always greater than the sum of its individual parts. I feel it today more than ever. And I'm so excited to start this new journey with my new community on the Colorado Court of Appeals. And for that, the opportunity to join such a prestigious group that is certainly one of the best reflections of the power of community and collaboration. I am so very grateful. Thank you.
To help celebrate this wonderful moment with our new judge, with her family, and with her friends, a reception in Judge Pawar's honor will be held immediately following this ceremony. The reception will be held in the Colorado History Museum, which you can find 1 block south of this building, across 13th Avenue on the Broadway side. We invite all of our guests to join our new judge, her family, her friends, and the rest of us there. The court will be in recess. Ms. Brock, would you please so announce?
All right.
You folks can go if you want.
I'm not sure.